No, the Earth is a globe. If it's a globe, everyone in Australia is walking around upside down, mate.
Fake news.
Fake news. Why doesn't the ocean just fall into the sky then?
Because gravity's bullshit.
People are so dumb.
They're so dumb.
It's just a cough.
Yeah, right. And the Earth is flat.
Treat your cough seriously with Robitussin CF Max. Nothing lasts longer and treats more symptoms for your cough, cold, and flu. Robitussin, because it's never just a cough.
Flat Earth expert Mark Sargent thinks the moon landing was a hoax.
Technically, the moon itself is a hoax.
Right, but betting with Sportsbet's new iPhone app?
I could do this standing on my head.
Thanks, Gravity. Sportsbet's new iPhone app. It's foolproof.
Lexi, tell us something interesting.
Okay, the Earth is flat, and a witch stole his pants.
Hold on, I know how we're different. Do you believe the Earth is flat?
I know it's flat. I walk on it.
Holy
Do you think the Earth is flat, Snoop? What do you think?
It's a flat world after all.
Smoke weed every day.
It's good to see you. I must go. I know I will go.
Broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship, currently at war with mainstream science. Meanwhile, the Peanut Gallery is searching the headlines and trying to get a grip on this pandemic's effects. Behold the most important news headline to help you get through this. Crisis: should you let a stranger pet your dog? COVID-19 risks explained by experts. Peanut Gallery wonders if Greta Thunberg was one of those experts. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger in fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure thousands of miles wide. Check it out at enclosedworld.com or just Google Flat Earth Clues. If you can't find it, well, you're just not very good at the internet. Or you've already died from the virus. For those of you listening to this on YouTube, you want to hear the show live as it happens, please go to Truth Frequency Radio for the latest schedule. Currently, the show is on Tuesday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And yes, Caroline, if it is not May 19th in the year of our Lord 2020, then you are listening to a rerun. Quote of the day goes exactly like this. There are only two places in the world where time takes precedence over the job to be done. School and prison. Who said that? William Glasser. The Mark Sargent 2020 challenge is still in effect. This is my personal declaration of war against mainstream science. I, Mark Sargent, put forth a challenge to any university, foreign or domestic, to loan me a self-contained spacesuit, put me in a vacuum chamber, and pull the switch. Find out what happens. Boy, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? For more information, please check out Flat Earth Clues Part 13, otherwise known as The Lost Nail. My co-host, she's lovely, she's sometimes sassy, but she's always lethal. Yep, it's Karen B. Hey, Karen, what's going on?
Hey.
Oh, that's the joke, isn't it? That's one of the jokes. What do gay horses eat? Hey.
That's silly.
I know. And yet I still do it. Why? Because it's a silly show sometimes. This show is partially sponsored, well, unofficially, by, wait for it, when you wake up to the flat earth reality, it can be a lonely place. Talking with friends and family can become contentious and often doesn't end well, sometimes in ritual sacrifice. There is nothing more exciting than waking up a family member or close friend from the globe lie. One of the best ways to do this is by gifting the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. And then asking them to take the Flat Earth Clock Challenge. Watch the featured video every day for 2 weeks and see what happens. Probably zombification, but what do I know? It'll be the best $2.99 you've ever spent. There you go. There's the endorsement. Before we get into a few things, I've got a small rant. This rant's short, but I think it's to the point, and I just want to get this out there. I kind of wrote this last minute. So, Karen, you ready? Are you doing lemon drops tonight? What are we doing?
No, I'm not doing lemon drops tonight.
Are you doing anything?
No.
No?
No, I've actually been fasting since last night. So I'm just drinking water and coffee.
You're already so thin. Is this what Ted's doing to you? Because he's ripped like a cheese grater, and he wants you to be even thinner than you are. You're going to go into negative numbers.
No, I do this every once in a while. I was doing this before Ted.
All right, fine.
I'm not gonna not eat forever.
Ted, you're on notice. She's already stunningly good looking. You don't have to make it. I won't even be able to look at you directly. I'll just be able to have gaze peripherally. All right. So the little rant for tonight. Hang on, before I do this, what's Peanut Gallery saying? Peanut Gallery says he's was their life before Ted. It's funny. Okay, so this particular rant is called, and this will be the name of the show. It's called "No Tears for the Shadow Puppets." Right? By this time next week, all the American news agencies will report that the United States has reached the quote-unquote grim milestone of 100,000 deaths. They will show this off in 80-point font, maybe even color it red. It will be the talking point of viral experts and politicians for weeks to come. This is a number I talked about months ago, and it's significant, something the media has wanted since the beginning. Even as the states open from coast to coast, the situation appears to grow more dire. Well, if you listen to the mainstream media. Over the last few weeks, I've gotten more and more firsthand reports of towns and states opening without any complications. People just quietly settling back into familiar routines because that's what human beings do. And even though it might sound a bit childish, I told you so. You'll be hearing more of those as 2020 continues. 100,000 sounds like a lot, but it's been 5 months, and we're talking about a country of 350 million Americans. Many things in this world kill people more quickly than that. Hell, at this point, you might as well say a cool 1,000,000 people have died, and it wouldn't matter because you haven't scared them enough to listen. A quick review and lesson to anyone who wants to control populations of the future. If you want to scare people, then actually give them something to be scared about. And what I mean is that up until now, it hasn't been personal. Find me someone who went to their contact list on their phone and found a person who died from the virus. And of course, we have to qualify that they died from the virus. If they had any other condition that was more pressing, say lung cancer or heart failure, then it really doesn't count. Remember, if this were an actual pandemic, there would be bodies in the streets stacked like firewood. More importantly, you would know people who died from it. That's what was advertised when we started this whole thing. A 1% mortality rate. 1 in 100 people. That's 3.5 million people in the United States alone. If this would have been an actual pandemic, then the hospitals would have been overrun in all states. Instead, we are laying off healthcare workers in droves. Why? Because in a perceived emergency, people stay away from hospitals to save resources. No elective surgery, no routine checkups, no anything but virus treatment. But the thing that I noticed recently, or should I say didn't notice, were the tears for the deceased. You see, if this was an actual pandemic, then there would be misery, despair, and mourning. Mourning for the dead. And there should be plenty to go around. More importantly, and I can't stress this enough, is that if this was an actual pandemic, healthy people would be struck down. Remember that, because I'm not seeing it. Healthy people aren't supposed to die. They are the last people we expect to get sick. When a healthy person suddenly becomes ill and dies, it comes as a shock. And that's what we hear time and time again. It's a cliche. He or she looked great. Then they had a heart attack or a blood clot or got hit by a bus, and then they died. No one sees it coming. That's where the serious tears come in, because you're not ready for it. If you had a family member who had been dying of lung cancer for the last 2 years, then gets diagnosed with the virus right before they die, yes, you get sad. But you had plenty of time to deal with the pain, starting with the initial diagnosis 2 years earlier. That's why the media is having such a hard time maintaining the drums of fear. There isn't enough personal misery. Moreover, misery loves company. And if this were an actual pandemic, everyone you came across would be very cautious about bringing up the death of family members. It would be a common denominator. We would have all lost people. But it's the opposite of that. I talk with friends, we compare notes, we shrug our shoulders because nothing is happening, and the world becomes less scary with each passing day. Does the media try to put some sad people on camera? Here and there, yes. But I think they've learned their lessons over the years. All it takes is one Robbie Parker smiling before a CNN press conference, and all the credibility goes to hell. Don't remember Robbie Parker? He was one of the parents of Sandy Hook. His 6-year-old daughter was supposedly gunned down, and yet 24 hours later he gives a live press conference on CNN. It's a well-known fact that the toughest thing to do in acting is cry on cue. Robbie was no exception, and he forgot that the cameras, were live the second he went outside. My point is that a lot of mothers cried for Robbie and Robbie's daughter, and I'm sure that a lot of people have cried for the virus victims. Word to the wise, don't. Not now. Not when the American deaths are just numbers on a screen, just shadow puppets on a wall. Maybe one day there will be something worthy of your tears. Maybe the event will be better late than never. Maybe when the powers take the reins off and show us what they can really do, maybe then there will be something to cry about. Until then, save your grief, your sorrow, and your tears. We've all got better things to do, like waking up everyone around us and changing the world. And on with the show. So, with that, we're going to do a couple things. One, we're going to take phone calls, but we're also going to bring in fact, probably bring him in now. We'll bring in Master Gunner Brian Burton, because I would like him and Karen and myself to discuss things that may or may not be happening with the reopening of the country. And one of the things that Brian Burton brought up to me recently was schools. So, Brian, are you there?
As always.
Well, you'd say that.
I know. Hey, I thought of something, though, while you were doing your little rant there.
Yes.
This virus has solved one of the biggest problems we had last year.
Do tell.
No more school shootings.
Yeah. Good points. Yeah,
They solved it.
Yeah, well, think of the other things that the positives, like bank robberies, because you can't go into bank lobbies anymore. It's very, very difficult to rob a bank unless you think you can pull it off from the drive-through.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about earlier which was why I'm bringing Brian on for this episode, is it occurred to me. Well, Brian brought it up, but it also occurred to me that out of all the things, there's mass gatherings. They're trying to shut down a lot of the non-essentials that are out there. Anything where people gather, they're shutting down. Obviously, restaurants and bars and stuff like that. But they're also shutting down the big events. Now, while, yes, they are reopening NASCAR. I know, I'm very excited for you. and they're going to reopen Major League Baseball with no fans, which is going to be weird. It's going to be the same thing like what's happening over in Germany, where they reopen soccer stadiums and the journalists are allowed in. And all the journalists said the same thing. It's just freaking haunting because they're looking around, the game's being played, but there's no fans. And fans are a big part of soccer. But there's not going to be rock concerts for any time in the future. No NFL, no NBA. There probably will be maybe tennis. I don't think they're going to allow people in tennis. Anyway, the point was, but all the bigger picture here is all these things are not really essential. They're entertainment. They're distractions for us. However, there is a big thing, and it's in every town in every state in our country and other places, gatherings which cannot be closed, and that is the school system. And in your neck of the woods, they're thinking about reopening. Is this true?
Well, yes, they are talking about opening in the fall. Doesn't that sound wonderful?
That does sound wonderful. What sort of draconian rules are going to be put in place in your area?
Well, so here's what they're talking about.
Okay.
So first of all, they're talking about schools cutting the classes in half by having the kids go to school every other day. So the first half of school goes to school on Monday. Mm-hmm. They get Tuesday off, and the other half goes on Tuesday, and they keep alternating that way, including Saturday. Got to use 6 days,
Yeah.
So let's start with that problem right there.
Yeah.
So one, if you do that, does that mean that group of kids go to school every Saturday? Or do you still give them 2 days off for like, quote, a weekend, which means some parents have their kids there on Monday?
Yeah, good point. Good point. Do the kids that go there, on Saturday, the kids that have to go to class on Saturday is always going to be Saturday? Do they alternate with the other kids? And do they get Sunday and Monday off if you go Saturday? And if that's the case, remember what you said, the parents are going to have to adjust for this as well.
Right. And
go ahead.
The more adjustment would be, and you actually brought it up,
mm-hmm.
would be the teachers.
Yes, teachers who have never worked a Saturday in their entire lives, because that's one of the things about teaching. You don't have to come in on Saturdays or the summer, Saturdays or Sundays. Now, all of a sudden, the teachers union, I don't even know how you approach the teachers union with that. It's like, oh, yeah, by the way.
More money.
Yeah, more money, which you don't have, which means you're going to have to do, another school levy. Remember, that's the school systems that can afford it. What about other school systems that can't afford it? And I know, look, some of you have already seen the videos that are coming out about schools that are already doing dry runs and trying to figure out how they're going to reopen. Everything from 6-foot markers in the hallways every 6 feet to where the whole school system runs like a Pink Floyd song, another brick in the wall, to 6-foot spacer markers in the playground, and you and I were talking about this, classrooms with hardly any desks. You don't move from classroom to classroom. You are in your desk. You don't switch classrooms at all. There is no the cafeteria is closed permanently. You have to eat lunch at your desk. And oh god, what was the other thing? Oh, and you can't go to you can't go to the bathroom.
Or a water fountain.
Yeah, well, yeah, the water fountains are turned off, turned off entirely, and you can't, and you can, when you go into the bathroom, you will always be alone. They will make sure that no one's no two kids are in the bathroom simultaneously. And it's again, there's so many problems with that.
Well, you know what? Here's
What?
the thing.
What?
On paper, it sounds great.
Even
It's
on
like
paper.
it's wait, hold on. It sounds like a well-formed battle plan. It
Sure,
does.
sure.
But the first time the child enters the room, anybody who's a parent, Karen, you'll be able to agree with me on this, there goes your rules. Anybody who's got more than one kid can tell you the whole stop touching me stories.
Yeah.
You can't get kids to stop.
Yeah.
They're going to touch. I mean, seriously.
Your quote was probably better than most, which was, how do you tell first graders not how to social distance? How do you get them to do it? Or second graders, or hell, third graders. I don't care what it is. I mean, it's too tempting. I mean, it's in what you said there. It's like, oh, sounds good on paper. No, it sounds like prison on paper. There's no happy. You know, the great thing about school is you have these breaks where you can relax for a little while. You have recess, you have lunch, and then you have your extracurricular. There are, as far as I know, there are no extracurricular. No cheerleaders, no teams, no pep assemblies, no anything.
Which brings up another big problem.
Yeah.
Because I know we're running out of time. So, well, like in my neck of the woods,
yeah,
sports is a big thing out here, like Texas and everything else.
Oh, God,
football. Yeah. Oh, I mean, seriously. My kid's school, the best part of their school is this $1 million gym they built. Oh, it's beautiful.
Sure.
They just finished it last year before the virus broke out.
Nice.
But so all these kids there goes all your academic scholarships. Think about this for a second.
Right.
You go a year or two without playing football, you're not so good no more. Especially if you're a junior in high school right now, you might have just lost your varsity things. Possible. There goes some scholarships. Yeah. The other thing is I was reading, so SATs. They're talking about doing SATs online.
Can you do SATs online?
They're setting it up so you can. Well, think about that for a second. I'm going to do my SATs for college from my desk at my home.
Yeah, who's going to stop me from opening up another laptop? And
there's going to be some high scores, I think.
The scores go to the freaking roof for the clever people. You kidding? I would, all you have to, in fact, I would have somebody else there in the room with me. You want to have some fun and then just swap it off. I would read the question to somebody and have them type in stuff to save time.
Yeah.
Not only would I get a high score, I'd get it done quickly. Oof.
But I'm watching the times here. Minus all that, think about this for a second. So there are some other economical problems.
Yep.
So a lot of kids, like in my area, have the school lunch program where, the income's a little lower than normal, so they get free lunches and all that.
Sure.
Cafeterias are shut down, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they are.
You can't congregate. Yeah. So they're going to give them lunch in their classroom. Boy, that sucks.
Yeah.
Have fun cleaning that mess up when you spill that juice. But
yeah.
What about the kids that don't go to school that day? So are they going to also have staff to send lunch home to the kids that aren't at school to get the free lunch?
Right. Or did they have to swing by to grab it?
Or swing by. The other thing, too, is I was reading because, they're going to be checking their fevers and everything else.
Yeah.
And, of course, if you got a fever, you got to go stay home for so many days, right?
Yeah, at least a week, supposedly.
Here's the problem. This includes the staff. So they actually have to hire backup teachers because if a teacher comes in with a fever, well, she has to go home. They have to have a backup teacher. They'll actually have to have substitute teachers a lot more on hand ready. Again.
Yeah, you're right. And normally the substitute teacher list is fairly small because most teachers, they hang in there. But
And then your other problem is they have to start throwing state mandates out. So here in my little redneck area, which is most schools, the kids have to attend, as you know, in public schools, you have to attend so many hours of school. Have to.
Right.
That's the requirement.
Right.
Not so much you learn the material, but you have to attend so many hours of school. Well, you start having kids get a fever and they have to go home for a week to make sure they don't have, quote, the coronavirus.
Right.
You start missing. I mean, my kids get sick a couple times. They get a fever a couple times a year. I still send them to school before.
Right.
Small fever, no big deal. But now they have to come home. You're talking about kids that could miss a month of school easily.
Yeah.
So do they have to extend school into the summer?
Oh, at this point, I would think that summer would be almost non-existent.
It would be, because they're telling schools they have to plan for 2 months of being down. And if so many kids in a school get it, then they have to shut the whole school down. So you could be talking about losing summer completely. If they can't do this, is my point of all this.
Yeah, no, they can't. They can't do what they want.
School.
The average school system is not designed. It's designed for the opposite of social distancing. Literally, it is to save money. As you know, in fact, the problem has been getting worse and worse over the years, which is they jam as many kids into a classroom as they can, pack them in as tight as they can, and they're constant. Whether you're bumping into kids in the hallway all the time, whether you're playing extracurricular sports, the coming and going from the main exits, it's just this jam-packed. Everybody's rubbing shoulders all the time. To set up the school to do the opposite would be it's logistically a nightmare, because you don't have also, by the way, schools are notoriously underfunded. Teachers are notoriously underpaid. I'm not going to get into that one now.
Well, how about they just mismanage the money?
Okay, let's just say schools. Yes, you're absolutely right. School districts are always out of money.
Echo.
Where's the echo?
Karen.
Sorry.
Not that we don't like hearing our own voices. I'm still doing it.
Is it still doing it?
Yeah, it is.
How about now?
Testing. A little better.
Now pitch it. No.
Yeah, now pinch hitting for Pedro Barbone. Manny Mota.
Oh, it's gone.
Damn it. Okay. So we're gonna come back in 30 seconds. Hang with us through the break, Brian.
Yeah,
and we'll go over this a little bit more. But yeah, the short version is, they've come up with all sorts of wonderful ideas for the entertainment part, which they can just kind of kick the can down the road if they want. But when it comes to schools, the problems are just beginning. There was a reason why we didn't discuss this. We just closed the schools. But eventually you're going to have to reopen them. And when you do, it's going to be a circus. Because again, it's school by school. Every, state by state, county by county, city by city. Everyone's going to come up with their own rules. Every superintendent's going to have their own advisors. Anyway, we'll be back in 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Well, yeah, do, but come back. Do as I say. Not as he's afraid.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 2 of 4. It's you, me, Karen B, and Master Gunner Brian Burton. We're talking a little bit about the reopening of America and the train wreck that is inevitably to follow. Because
for the record,
yeah,
you once said you saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I told you it might be.
Yeah, it's the train. I'm not. I'm not looking forward to this. The school thing, I am so glad I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I'm glad I don't have kids. But in this case, oh my God, I can't even imagine, because what's going to happen is the kids are going to go to school. They're going to be, I feel worse for the kids that have been in school for a number of years, because that's going to be completely changed. If it's your first year of school, you're not going to know any different. You're going to be like, oh, wow, that's kind of weird. But if you've been in school for a few years, all of a sudden it's going to be like, what do you mean no cafeteria? What do you mean, like, I can't jump on the swings next to this, and like only 3 people on the monkey bars at all times. There's constantly people cleaning things and making sure I stay 6 feet apart. I mean, school dances, gone. Remember that rule beforehand where it's like you couldn't, like in some places where you couldn't slow dance and stuff like that, or you couldn't, they had a touching rule. You could slow dance, but you couldn't be like, cheek to cheek.
Well, it gets even worse if you think about it. It's like, well, think about the band. You couldn't have band no more.
Oh, yeah, band's gone. Well, but and band was notoriously sexually active anyway.
Well, yeah, one time at band camp. But
yeah, exactly. Band members were a bunch of freaks. Come on, they're very.
But I mean, besides that, and then these are little things, but they all add up. I mean, like people in band, they had class instruments. I mean, hell, even in kindergarten, first grade, they passed out those recorders. You can't do that no more, could you?
No. In fact, any shared, there's so many things.
Right. Crowns. Hell. Yeah.
People don't they don't get it. Schools were designed to save money. Schools were designed to share as much stuff as possible. In the gymnasium, you shared every piece of athletic equipment. In music class, you shared everything. In chemistry class, you share all this stuff. I mean, you'll have to hire cleaning teams to wipe down everything all the time. I mean, the school is just a cornucopia of germs, which is fine. Again, you build up the herd immunity thing. That's what school is for. I mean, kids eat dirt and then they wipe it on their friends. That's what you do as a kid. They share lunches. They trade lunches. They steal lunches. I mean, you basically put the bullies out of business, because a bully isn't even allowed to touch kids anymore.
Oh, gosh.
I know, right?
But here's the funny thing about all this. So we're sitting here saying, none of this will work.
It won't work.
But what we have to realize is they, whoever be in power, have to make it work. Because remember, what our school system, as most of us know, is the number one indoctrination of our kids.
Which goes into a whole nother thing, which is, how do you indoctrinate people if you're basically forcing them home? Homeschooling will skyrocket.
My kids lost, a month of school because they shut this down about a month before the school got out.
Right.
Out here.
Yeah.
So not a big deal.
Well, it's a month in counting.
Well, a month in counting, but right. So in fall, if they can't start the schools back up,
right,
what about all this indoctrination they're going to start losing?
Yeah.
Parents are at home teaching their kids. The kids are on the YouTube listening to this crazy guy named Mark Sargent, and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, don't listen to him.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. And in fact, which is one of my complaints about this whole operation, which is there are things happening now which are working against you. One of them, of course, is what you're saying, the indoctrination. You can't indoctrinate people if you sent them home for homeschooling. One of the other things is, I don't know, how about all the hundreds of millions of dollars you spent on state-of-the-art face recognition systems that are now useless because everyone's wearing freaking masks? Facial recognition doesn't do nothing. In fact, if you're wearing your mask, I mean, because like even the little things, like the Apple phone, the new phones have that facial recognition unlock bit where you just show them your face. Can't do that anymore. So what are you doing there? Not to mention, and I know Karen laughed at it the last time I said it, but you've told everybody to dress up like bank robbers, and they're out on the street.
Crime hasn't gone up. I still can't figure that one out.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. It will. It will, because that's one of those other waves, which is you're pushing people who can't make rent, just it's one of those things the media is not going to talk about, and that is just before people go homeless, they commit crimes. They take the risks. Of course. Why the hell not? It's like, look, if you're going to be out in the street anyway, you might as well take the chance. People will take stupid risks, everything from high-end embezzlement down to stealing petty cash. They will do this. And if they can't do that, well, I wouldn't want to be a liquor store owner in a couple months. Banks, you won't have to worry about it because no one's going to do anything in the drive-thru. But if you own a convenience mart, if you own any store that handles cash on a regular basis, go out and get a baseball bat immediately. And
I wonder
what
if you can go to a convenience store with a hoodie and sunglasses on yet. Or do you still have to take those off and just wear your mask?
Well, that's just it. It was me, and I'm not endorsing this. If it was me, what I would do, if I was in a desperate position, I would just get find out what the most generic mask is on the street, some tan mask, doesn't really matter. Go in, rob the place, and then walk outside and change masks. That's it. Yep. What description are they going to give? It's like dorky looking white guy with a mask. There's a lot of us out there. Totally get away with it. You could just walk down the street. You wouldn't even have to run. You would blend in so easily that no one can catch you. I mean, other than maybe your physical, whatever you're wearing, take off the hoodie, throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
The camera in the convenience mart is useless now because that's why you wear masks. Just anyway. Anything else about the schools should we cover before?
Well, like I said, the big thing was the indoctrination. But so what baffles me is all these plans the different areas are coming up with on. Oh yeah, we're gonna. Here's the thing confusing about the media. We have this covered, no problem. We're gonna do this, this, and this.
Right. It's
kind of like, oh yeah, the states are reopening, but LA is extending. You can only run on the wet sand. There's this. It's a bait and switch, a hope and fear going on. It's confusing everybody.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the best laid plans. Yeah, everyone's got their ideas on paper, but I don't think that many of them are actually going to get instituted. Best laid plans, as soon as you try to implement, everybody's got a plan until they get hit. Remember the thing that the Washington state governor came up with where he wanted to do a registration system at all restaurants, where you walk in, you have to give them your name, your email address, your phone number, all this stuff. And then when you leave the restaurant, you have to check in with them to let them know that you're leaving. Well, he abandoned that within a week after proposing it because every restaurant just came back with all these questions about what the hell, stuff I mentioned, which was like, okay, that's fine if you have like an Applebee's where you have a hostess in the front, maybe, but what do you do about fast food?
They solved that problem. You didn't hear about that? No, I'm serious. A couple of days ago, they announced it. Apple iPhones are tracking when you're near other iPhones.
Yeah, I've heard about the app, but
no, not an app. The phones are doing it now.
Oh,
it's not an app you need to get.
Oh, it's already just built in.
Well, yeah, because the phones know where you are. Every phone knows where you are.
Yeah,
and Apple can just say this phone was near this phone, et cetera, et cetera. They talked about that in the news the other day.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, the schools are going to be it's going to be intriguing to watch because every state's going to come up with their own idea. But I think your point was the best, which was when you get to those younger ages, you're asking them to do something which is absolutely counterintuitive.
Right.
And then go ahead.
My last point.
Yeah.
Is so they've instilled all this fear of this coronavirus, right?
Right.
And maybe the kids are, okay, although they got those new reports last week coming about there's some kind of linked virus that are killing kids now up in Chicago or something.
Right.
But here's the thing. We still know the pandemic's, quote's not over until they have their magical vaccine.
Right.
Which isn't due until 2021. We're still a year out, they're saying, for a vaccine.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent that actually has got all this fear of this coronavirus and all that,
yeah,
and you got your parents, your grandparents and all that, would you send your kids to the school?
Right. Oh, you mean if the school's requiring a vaccine to get in?
Well, no. There's no vaccine yet. Remember.
Oh, I know, but I'm thinking down the road. Yeah.
Well, no,
good,
I'm thinking
excellent.
before down the road.
Oh, yeah.
There's no
You're
vaccine
right.
Yet.
You're right.
Well, kids go to school now. I'm not sending my kid to get sick. If I believed it and all that, why would they send him there? So they're talking about the online stuff, which sounds great, the online school stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people, for those of you living in big cities, believe it or not, that don't have internet access. Right. Well, hell, as you know, I just got decent internet access, 2 weeks ago?
Right.
For the first time. Because there's a lot of rural areas that don't have internet.
And then it becomes discriminatory based on income. And I mean, go ahead.
I'm just saying you have that problem. So they got to fund states to get internet up. And if you don't, and you still send the kids to school, one more thing we haven't covered. Yeah. What about the buses?
Oh God.
How do you deal with the buses?
Short version, folks, is that it's not just the schools. America, the entire school system, including the transportation part of it, is geared up to pack people in to save money.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That you can't do a school bus. You can't. There's nothing you can do there. You have to have the parents drive them in because some people could take the bus, but you'd have to have the kids, every other seat?
Well, they also were talking about, so when the kids do go to school, and this is actually the thing, is staggering the start time. So not only do you have only half the kids going to school on Monday morning, but you must stagger. So this group of kids start at 9, this kids group start at 10, this kids group. So they get there later in the day and stagger the buses. So now you have these part-time bus drivers driving all day, plus that last set of kids, do they have to stay till 5 or 6 at night?
Oh my God.
You see the problem here?
Yeah. It never ends. The madness.
It doesn't end.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
By the time you're done, I know what you're trying to do, to, again, stem the tide of whatever you think's happening out there. But in their case, the measures are more harmful, and we'll talk about this more in the next coming weeks. The measures you're taking are more harmful than the alternative, which is just let kids freaking go to school. You got to remember, they've already told, let's not gloss over this part. You've already told the United States and basically the world that anyone under the age of 25 doesn't catch it anyway, or they're asymptomatic. So who cares? Right? No kids die from this ever. No kids even claim to die from this.
Right. And the last thing I'll leave you with, my analogy for the whole plan and all that, it's kind of like if you get a splinter in your finger, they're going to solve that. Just cut the finger off.
Yeah, very good.
Don't think about what's going to happen. Then we'll deal with everything else. It just compounds the problem.
Yeah, baby with the bathwater. Yeah. It's all right. Well, thank you, Master Gunner.
Have fun.
Always nice to talk to you.
Always so nice to talk to you, Karen. Next time, don't talk so much.
I'll see you down at the club. It's a pilot's club. It's called Barely. Turn your mic up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
That's good. So
why were you talking the entire time?
No.
Oh, thank God.
But I did have myself muted while you guys were talking.
Doesn't she sound like she's in a drain pipe?
She does.
See, I still haven't fixed my sound issues.
You're not in your bathroom, I hope.
Yeah, you're in the bathroom.
No, I'm not in the bathroom. How's that?
Better. It's actually better. So yeah, I was envisioning you in the tub, which I do often anyway. All right. Anyway, Brian, nice to talk to you. We'll chat soon.
Yep. Later.
All right. See ya. All right. We're going to go straight to the phone lines and let's pick up our favorite Amazon delivery girl delivery woman out of Seattle, Washington. What's happening, Dottie?
Oh, just finishing up another hellish day working for the Slave Corporation. So, still going, not on fire yet. And,
Are you still delivering as we're speaking right now?
No, I'm stepping back, so my van is probably like really, really loud because the freaking slider door next to me is just like rattly and awful. Like every single day we get a different van, and you just don't know what the problem with the van is going to be. Like, I'm going to turn on and run and do that, but it's like today, like all the doors are squeaky and rattly. That's just nothing new. But today I had this stupid hand truck with a deflated wheel, and like all of my big boxes were so heavy, and it's just like a nightmare to try and drag a hand truck around on a dead wheel. And so yeah, I just
Nice.
my problems with Amazon are like really stressful for me, but like if I tell them to other people, I know that it just sounds like so stupid because it's like, really, why is that such a big problem? But it's too many problems all the time. And yeah, and then going to the station is like, oh, who's going to yell at me about a mask, or like what's going to happen there? I'm over it.
Yeah, I hear you. Is it just out of curiosity? Is it still really, really busy? I mean, is Amazon just cranking out the stuff?
Yeah, we don't seem to ever have a not busy time. Like during what we call peak, which is, November through December, I mean, we do get more packages, but like I don't seem to ever notice a difference in like the amount of stops that we get, or like it always seems to be about the same. Like there's no shortage of stuff going out to Amazon. But the thing that does really annoy me is when I do the same route multiple days in a row, and I go to the same exact houses every day, and it's just like, can you stop ordering stuff every single? Just sit down at your computer and put stuff in your cart, and then order it all at once. Like, people have to be like so unbelievably bored right now that they're like,
they are.
Might as well give
it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, if they can't go out and do something, or if they're scared to do it, what's the next best thing? Having somebody come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One really nice thing today, though, someone left out snacks on their porch, so I got some cookies and Cracker Jack, and then another person left me a Starbucks gift card on the porch. So,
Awesome.
That was really nice, but, the rest of the people, they were pretty much awful, and I wanted to set their package on fire, but, that's Amazon, so...
Nice. Well, cool. Anything else?
I'm still planning on having my meetup Saturday, May 30th at Seahurst Park in Burien, Washington. It's low-key, no masks allowed, and yeah, it's just going to be like a picnic on the beach. So yeah, come have a good time.
All right, that sounds great. Well, we'll let you go because your car sounds like you're doing an off-road race right now, and my headphones are killing me. So,
yeah.
We'll talk soon. You have a good one, Dottie.
Bye, love you.
All right, yeah. All right, let's get to, how about South Kakalaki? Did I say that right, Karen? South Kakalaki.
South Kakalaki, yes.
South Kakalaki, 843. It's you, me, Karen B. What's happening?
Karen.
God.
How's everything?
Great.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I called.
What's new?
Oh, not too much. I just want to wish Karen a happy belated birthday.
Oh.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
She's 29.
I don't have a whole bunch to discuss, but I did want to talk about the schools and stuff. Like
Sure.
Master Gunner was saying, my grandkids are 4 and 5, and they go to a private school, and their daycare is opening up June 1st.
Okay.
So they're going to be back in daycare. And their thing is, we're going to do our best to social distance them. Now, how are you going to social distance 4 and 5-year-old kids?
Absolutely.
First of all,
yeah. How?
That's going to be out of control. So, but my daughter, thank God, is on board with all this stuff. And so she's like, go. They need to go back to school. Go. So I'm proud of her for doing that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, Tommy, that flat fellow, he's coming over my place this weekend. We're going to do another test. We did that. I don't know if you guys saw the other test we did with the little toy boats in the water in a distance through like 50 feet of gutter, and you can see the boat disappear in the gutter.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about using toy boats. That's actually brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that flat fellow, Tommy, that flat fellow. We put a video up about it. We did it here at my place, and it was exactly what you think would happen. You know, the boat disappeared, you know, so, and we had a camera at water level and maybe a 3-inch boat, 2-inch, 3-inch boat, 50 feet away, and the thing just disappears. So anyway, but now we got one that we're going to do this weekend. Hopefully Dr. La's coming too, but it's going to be heat through a vacuum. So I have a vacuum chamber.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and put a heat lamp in a vacuum chamber and see if the heat resonates through the vacuum.
It probably will. And the reason why I say that...
That's what I'm thinking, because you have a border around it.
Well,
right?
Well, not only that, but remember, that's actually one of the building blocks of a light bulb, which is it's a heat thing inside, you know, before LEDs anyway. A heat side inside, you know, the light bulb is a tiny little vacuum chamber. I think a better one would be, don't put it inside the vacuum chamber, shine it through it. Shine the
That's a good idea.
Yeah, shine it from one side through the vacuum chamber to the other side, see if you get anything. And then you could put to one side, or, you know what I mean?
Yep. And I do have one of those laser temperature things. So, you know, I've been testing the moon and all that stuff. I do have one of those. So, yeah, that's a good idea. I think that's a better option, is putting it through, you know, to shine it through that. That way,
yeah, try to shine it through it.
Through the vacuum chamber and into a vacuum and see what happens.
Ooh, that'd be good too.
You're right. I think
that's
going to be good.
Remember, that's how thermoses work as far as keeping things in, because, you know, it has very, very limited bleed through when it comes to thermal radiation. And so, yeah, have fun with that thing. Let me know how it goes.
We will. And I do have a quote.
Yes.
And I think it might be an original quote from me. Yep. I don't know. Maybe somebody else thought of it before me. I'm not thinking, but the sky is a clock. The arms go around a clock. The clock does not go around the arms.
Ah, very zen. Very zen.
See where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I do. Let's go. Seriously, I want to hear some Chinese music in the background while you're doing this. That's awesome.
Well, good.
Cool. Anything else?
I love listening to you guys. I love listening to you guys, and I try and listen as much as I can. Usually, it's the next day on YouTube because I have a hard time staying up. But I love calling in when I get a chance and I'm up. So, love to both of you. Have a great rest of the show, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, groovy man. Thanks. Talk soon.
Thank you.
We got 30 seconds to the break, and then after that, we'll pick up Hawaii, we'll pick up California, we'll pick up the great state of Washington that was fantastic coming out of the gate. for the whole virus thing, but now we're not even. I think we're barely cracking the top 20. I don't know what our problem is at this stage. And then Peanut Gallery says what? North Texas school districts discuss. Yeah, the rules.
So no more echo for you, right?
Nope. No, you're perfect.
Okay, great. I figured out my sound issues finally. Finally.
Well, I hope it wasn't anything serious.
No. But now if you go to DLive, Karen B, you can see me while I'm streaming on camera. Hi.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Back in 3, kids. Not actual kids, just figure of speech.
Hi, my name is Ella.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange Worlds Parts 3 of 4. And it's you, me, and Karen B. I actually almost lost half an hour there. Remember when I did that one show when I closed the show like half an hour early?
Yes.
It's like, good night, everybody. It's like, and Peanuts on the background going, what the hell, dude? I wasn't even drunk. That's the weird part. I was totally sober, but I was distracted. Okay. So there's 2 things I wanted to go over really quickly before we pick up. Well, one thing, I'll do this one article for this segment, and the last segment I'll talk about some of the stats. So there was an article in the Los Angeles Times, and I will copy it to you guys right now. I know Peanut Gallery is sending me a lot of stuff. But I got to read this one because it's really interesting. United States Justice Department warns California that coronavirus rules may violate religious freedoms. And you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, that can't be, you can't be reading it right. Why would the Justice Department, the United States government, come after California and saying, oh yeah, by the way, you may be actually getting a little too harsh in your lockdown stuff. Now, what had happened was, so he had this multiple phase plan about reopening California, where the plan ran into problems was this. Federal officials criticized the reopening plan for allowing restaurants, shopping malls, offices, and manufacturing facilities to open under phase 2, while religious institutions could not reopen for in-person services until phase 3, which would occur later. Well, you can imagine that potentially has some problems there because you're saying that churches aren't essential at all. Churches have been trying to get open now for some time. You're saying, no, restaurants, shopping malls first, then the churches. Yeah, even the Justice Department can't ignore that when they're like, yeah, dude, you're opening yourself up to some serious legal action if you do that. So if you want to check that out, it's on the Los Angeles Times, called U.S. Justice Department warns California that coronavirus rules may violate religious freedoms. But again, even the headline is a little misleading. It's about when they were going to do it, not if. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's do Hawaii. 808 out there. What island are you calling from?
Aloha, calling from the Big Island.
Right on. What's happening?
Aloha.
Aloha. What's the new cruelty out in Hawaii?
Oh, the artificial mask. Ugh.
The what?
Everybody, they're all wearing masks.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
everybody's wearing masks.
Yeah.
I mean, little babies.
Well, I had heard that you're not supposed to put masks on anyone under the age of 2, and I have yet to see that. But you're seeing it out there.
Everywhere. A baby, probably about 9 months old, with a mask. And I looked at her and I said, "Take it, baby. It's okay." And she did take it off. But yeah, they're putting masks on babies.
Fear is such a powerful thing. Well, fear and peer pressure. And by that, I mean, people don't want to be left out. People want to be part of the herd. A lot of people do. You, me, and Karen, and everyone listening to the show, obviously enlightened people that are not that. But there are a huge amount of people that want to be part of the pack. And the easiest way to do that is to, do what they do. When in Rome, if everyone's wearing masks, it caught on quickly, which was, first it was like 25%, then 50, then 75%. Now.
Yeah. They will literally throw a mask at you. Now, well, here, if you don't have a mask to go into stores, gas stations, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
Wow.
No one's done that to me yet, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm big and weird looking. No one's approached me to that effect, and I've been waiting for it. Catching eyes from time to time. Most of the time, it's the eye that I'm giving them. It's like, what are you doing? But at the same time, it's like, I get it. The system wouldn't work if there weren't a lot of sheep out there. It wouldn't work. And that's what we're looking at. You want to know who the sheep are? Like I said last week, anyone who voluntarily wears a mask is a sheep. Plain and simple. I don't care if they're your friends or family members. If they are volunteering, if they are not being forced to wear a mask, then, whatever it is, it's like, you can't get on this plane unless you wear a mask, or you can't buy this grocery stores unless you wear a mask. I mean, I avoid, as whenever possible, places that require them. Luckily for me, not that many places require it up here. Very few, as a matter of fact. In fact, the only one
only 2 stores. Yeah. Within 10 miles of me.
Yeah. Got it. Are they so? But really, gas stations.
Gas stations, yes.
Wow. Just.
I mean, I'm like going, really? I'm outside. I can do this. Now you have to go mask, go inside, pay.
Do you know?
They used to have the boxes at the bank and slide them through, but they don't have them here.
The ones that get me are the people that are jogging and or cycling or doing any sort of heavy exercise with the mask. Look, I've worn masks before, but of course I had some in my toolbox because if you're doing, I have hay fever, and if you're doing yard work and you're trying to avoid dust, you see a lot of people that are doing construction projects on their homes. If you're tearing out drywall, chances are you're wearing a mask just because you don't want to eat drywall. But it's not fun to wear, especially if you're exerting yourself. It's hot, it's sticky, it's gross. And it smells funny after a very short amount of time. So, that's the other thing they're telling people. It's like you should change your mask. Like, even if you're doing this, you have to change it like every couple hours. But, you know what?
No.
It's fine. At least you're fine. And there's people out there. There's still hope. There is. Can we turn it around? Yes. What I'm worried about now, I hate to say this because it sounds petty, but I'm worried about if some sort of event or apocalyptic thing actually happened like today. The problem is that people would still be wearing the freaking masks. They would still wear them. So it could be a zombie apocalypse tomorrow, and there'd be people wearing the mask. I'd be like, why are you wearing it? It's a zombie apocalypse. It's like, well, you can't be too careful. It's like, you're killing me, man.
Right.
So,
exactly. Where their clothes are on fire, but the mask is protecting them.
Right. Right. I'm still, I get it. It's hard for me. It's a real paradox for me because, again, I want to come to them and say, look, you were told not to wear them. Karen knows this argument, not to wear them for 5 weeks. And then you did a 180 and said, no, you should wear them. And my argument is, people don't care. As long as the television says it, they're going to do it. If I came to you or if the television all of a sudden says, starting Monday, you have to wear masks with, polka dots on them. Guarantee you on Monday, you would see people, the polka dot fabric, it would be sold out everywhere. And people would be wearing polka dot masks, even though there would be no reason behind it. There's no medical reason whatsoever. It's like to why you're endorsing the polka dots. But it's all right.
Correct.
It's all right. We'll be fine.
Yes.
Anything else?
I know we'll be fine. One thing is, if everything's artificial and that has been regulated, and the regulations have codes and rules, can they mandate an artificial mask for us to wear?
You mean make it required in terms of what?
Well, if artificial, everything is regulated as artificial.
Yeah.
And the regulations have rules and codes.
Yeah.
So that they make a law. They can't mandate us to wear an artificial mask. They can mandate us to wear a regular face, what we have.
Yeah.
They can't regulate us to put something over our mouth, I don't believe.
No, that's just it. Right now, it's voluntary and everybody's doing it anyway. If your question is, can they do it legally? No, there's a lot of people that would come forward, and there's a lot of legal groups that would question it. You can't do any sort of standardized mask because we don't have the manufacturing facilities to do it. We're talking about 350 million just to cover, we're not including infants. Let's round down, say 300 million in the United States. And that's just one time. That's just one mask per person. You'd need billions of these things, of these standardized masks, which is why, by the way, they panicked as quickly as they did, because initially they thought, okay, we can, they realized very quickly they didn't have enough masks for everybody. So they said, everyone should just wear any face covering you can think of, whether it be a scarf or a pantyhose or a hockey mask. Doesn't really matter, as long as you have some sort of face covering. But can they require it? The thing is, we've got so many different groups, and everyone's got different jurisdictions. So your company may require it, but the restaurant may not. The park may require it, but the courthouse may not. And it goes on and on and on. So I don't know. And then, we're talking about the cities versus rural areas. There's entire towns, as far as I know, like the state of Arizona is opening up as we speak. I mean, like it's not even a thing there anymore. But the media won't cover it, which is interesting. The media only covers states that are requiring things, that are tightening down. They don't even want to send teams to the states that are opened up and towns that are opened up, because that's not news. If all of a sudden this town became normal, who cares? Like, media, there's no ratings there. There's nothing. What they want is they want protests. They want people. They only want to cover pushback. So anyway,
Right.
Sorry. Anything else?
That's it. No, that's it. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
All right. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
All right.
Mahalo.
Is that what I was supposed to say? Mahalo. Is that goodbye? Or is that a different?
Yeah.
Greeting?
Yeah.
All right. I got to bone up on this. All right, let's go to 530. 530, you're on with Karen and me and, well, the ghost of all that have fallen through this troubling time. What's up?
It is William.
Hey.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a riddle for you then, Mark.
Yeah.
I am a sheep, but I'm not wearing a mask. What am I?
Oh, is this one of those cool little riddles which I'm supposed to know? Sheep, but I'm not wearing
You
a
ought
mask.
to. You're raising me. You just told me.
I don't know. What is it?
I'm a Christian.
Oh, no. That's not fair to say, because we have, half of the Flat Earth community is Christian. And I don't. With this, I don't think this kind of redefines sheep for me. Meaning, if you're because this is fear-based, which is everything else is more of a. I mean, there's people involved in all sorts of different groups.
I understand.
But
I'll solve the riddle for you. Okay, it's all scripture-based, but the difference between God and Satan is that Satan's a liar. So I follow the Good Shepherd, which is, Jesus.
Yeah.
And he's our example.
Yeah.
He would never lie. He would lead us to pastors, right?
Yeah.
But we can't because we're stay inside our houses. So, so the Holy Spirit leads you into all truth. And so since I know this is a lie, I know God wouldn't want me following a lie. So I will not wear the mask, but I will follow my Good Shepherd. Gotcha. And that's my word for the Christians out there, the real ones.
Yeah.
So on the surface, it sounds like a mystery, but it's really not.
No, you know what? I should have recognized the biblical reference right off the bat. I should have. And this is why I am not invited to the more Christian conferences.
To do this. You know what I mean? You didn't dig in for yourself. That's the difference.
No,
so,
no.
Karen, how's it going? Is she? She's huh?
Say it again because you're cutting out.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I just said hello, Karen, because I haven't heard her yet.
Oh, hi. Hello, William. Didn't you hear me say good evening?
I think a little bit. I've been having trouble with my phone because I think they know. So anyway, yeah. So with the school, actually, real quick, I'm actually surprised that Hawaii is so. Seems like they're going so crazy like this, considering, if I remember right, President Clinton signed some kind of executive thing apologizing formally that they became a state because we kind of just went in there and invaded them, and they either became a state or we were going to take them out. And so after all that happening, I just figured they'd be the last ones to want to go along with everything. But I guess you just never know, right?
Well, you'd think, except what happens with Hawaii is that, one, it's tourism based. Most of their money comes in from tourism. But the other thing is, because it's an island, it's so easy to lock down. And so it seems more serious because the streets become empty because the tourists are gone. You're not letting tourists in. The flights are gone. And because less planes are coming in, you're getting less supplies. So the grocery stores are actually more empty in Hawaii than they are in other places, because the groceries, the heavy groceries, like we were talking about last week, the canned goods, are coming in less and less. So Hawaii is actually more scared than other people. It's not that they're brainwashed. It's like it's more effective there because they're not landlocked. They're not Wyoming in the middle of a whole bunch of states. They're on their own.
I guess so.
So,
well, I do know my friend said he's starting his garden. Never had one before.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, don't they have a year-round growing season in Hawaii? I feel like they could all just grow food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do a good job with it. And I guess one last thing about the schools, I don't think the schools are going back in. I think they're going to they got to have justification for the Wi-Fi and the internet, and that's because the kids are going to be staying at home. It's just a theory, but I don't think they're coming back. And I know personally that they're retrofitting the school buses here in Northern California with those stations.
Karen, your mic's still on.
Sorry.
It's all right.
They're parking them way out in the boondocks so they can get to the homes in little communities that are way out beyond cell phone range.
Yeah.
So I know that's going on, and so unless that's just a means to an end for now until they bring them back in, and they need more time to do whatever they're going to do to the schools, maybe to make certain kids sick. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what they're really up to? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't see it becoming Nazi Germany in our schools. Yeah.
No, I can't either. It's too much, and I think a lot of there's pushback. Of a lot of parents. Well, the ones that aren't working. Remember, we get a huge unemployment thing now. Parents are more apt to. This is what Peanut Gallery was mentioning to me earlier, which was that there's more homeschooling. And once you do that, well, that's the opposite. I mean, there could be a huge influx of homeschooling. So I don't know. I don't think you can do it. The ideas are, again, they sound practical on paper, but so tough to implement, especially when you get below, and I don't know how like fourth graders are like, but I mean, definitely when you get like third grade, second grade, first grade, kindergarten, it's almost impossible. I mean, teaching a first grader social distancing, you might as well be trying to teach social distancing to a box full of puppies. That's how effective it would be.
Yeah, but did you see Jaren's little clip on Glowbusters? They have adults walking around in bumper tables like they're toddlers in a restaurant. I mean, tell me that was a fake video.
No,
because if it wasn't,
it's not. It's not. There's a hardware store.
That video was really.
There's a hardware store and a grocery store not 4 miles from here, and they've got people lined outside with orange cones and caution tape and electrical tape on the sidewalk, and they're lined up with masks, and they wait, their turn, and it's straight out of, a George Orwell movie scene.
Yeah, they're doing that here, Mark, absolutely, but I'm talking about the bumper tables that the people were walking around in its restaurant.
Yeah.
They look like giant little things that the 2-year-old walking when they're learning to walk.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me. So I just thought that was kind of crazy. It's done. So if they could do that to adults, why can't they do that to 5-year-olds?
Eventually you might be able to. Eventually you might be able to, but it's gonna be difficult because kids, when they're home, are doing the exact opposite. And by the way, mothers will notice that. That's the big thing. If you have multiple kids, let's say you have 2 or 3 kids, and they come home, and a mother all of a sudden notices that they are social distancing at home from each other, or they're not hugging their parents or not getting anywhere close, they're like, there's no touching at home. Oh yeah, that's going to end. That will be, it's like, what are you doing? Exactly. It's like, we're not supposed to touch. It's like, yeah, that just, the PTA meetings after that will change, and parents will just pull their kids and say, yeah.
Well, we could. So one other thing, I did go down at a restaurant the other day, but all the chairs, really funny, only 8 tables in this place, and all the chairs were facing one direction, almost as though it was a movie theater, and they're all facing the back wall. And so that way no one could look at one another and talk. And so, of course, me being who I am, I turn my chair around because, one, I don't like my back to the door when people come in. So I turn my chair around so I could see people. But they had it all set up. Only one side, and it was the same side on every table. So that way everybody was looking at the back wall, which I thought was weird.
Absolutely amazing.
So, I noticed that. I noticed little things like that.
Got it. All right, man. Well, thank you for all that.
I'm going to go because I talked long enough. What's that? I mean, can I do a shout out? I have never done this before.
Do it.
But I'm going to shout out to Patricia Steer.
Okay.
Because I miss her. I think she's a darling of a woman. I think when you narrated her story, I listened to that a few times and it touched my heart. And I pray she's doing well. I know she likes some of the Christians out there, Rob Skiba and Dean Odell. Well, there's more of them out there. So I just pray she's doing okay. So shout out to Patricia Steer.
Thank you very, very much. And you have a good one. All right.
Bye.
All right. Let's go to real quick 425. I'll give you 3 minutes and change. What's happening, Hunkalicious?
Oh, man, I don't know what to say. I mean, you're making me the causation of freaking Karen's nutritional changes in her life and making it sound like that she needs to be like me, but even me is not like how I used to be because I'm not working out as much as I used to be. Anyway, enough of that BS white man rapping. I'm doing great. I'm basically completely self-distance myself from work because I refuse to be like everybody else wearing a mask, and it's just too creepy. I mean, I honestly when I put in my 2 weeks, I said, I'll tough it out. I'll put on my little face sleeve thing and deal with it. But within 5 minutes, it's gone full retarded here, and I can't handle that. And I'm like, I'll break and I'll snap, and I'll probably punch a few COVIDiots.
Nice.
In this nightmare that we're in.
Nice.
But yeah, more people though are unfortunately wearing masks while they're driving, and that frightens me, especially considering that New Jersey woman who died because she wore a face mask passed out and crashed.
Yeah. It's ludicrous. It's like, but again,
I know, and I'm seeing, and bus drivers are wearing masks now, and that's like a 20-ton vehicle with the person in a mask, and think about like all the truck drivers too. That's the one that really worries me.
Sure.
I never realized how. Who knows? Maybe in the powers be didn't know until they did some focus groups. I never knew how effective the media was until now.
Right?
It was that easy. It was so easy. All they had to do. In fact, I mean, you got to remember that the president came on and said, yeah, you should probably wear masks. Oh, I'm not going to wear one. It's like,
no.
He said this on national television, and people are just scrambling. You still cannot go to a hardware store and find masks. You cannot do it. They'll be sold out forever. And, so people are just wearing anything they can. It's just maddening.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's mad world.
We're fine. You're good. Karen's good. We're all good. Everyone listening here, you're all good. Just remember that your family and friends, anyone that wears a mask voluntarily, treat them like zombies when it all goes to hell. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, just go mask. Mask.
Nice. Anything else? 30 seconds to the music.
Yes, I got on an American Airlines flight post their little face mask mandatory BS, except for people that are 2 years younger and have medical conditions. I shouted the words, "I have a medical condition," which prohibits me from wearing a face mask, and I was able to be successfully like the only person on my plane flying back from Cairns without a face mask.
Nice.
It was great.
Nice. Good for you.
Awesome. Do what I can.
Wonderful.
Alrighty.
All right.
Have a wonderful night.
You too, man. See ya.
All right. Bye, Karen.
Bye.
Does he have like a calendar? 12 months of TED. Can I get one of those?
But he could.
Damn it. Maybe him in a fireman outfit. Policeman, construction worker.
Ooh, policeman.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are DFR, your protection from deception.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 4 of 4. Is you, me, and Karen B. And I'm pretty sure I forgot during the first segment to say that, that was Joe Jackson stepping out from his album Night and Day. So sorry to anyone that was waiting for that didn't get it. Before we pick up a few more phone calls, we're going to pick up 845 and 360 and anyone that calls after that. I want to mention real fast, this kind of circles back to my rant. One of our listeners sent, just a quick little short list of things that, have caused deaths worldwide this year, that people just aren't talking about, like, remember, this is all the way through May, and you can usually check these out on worldometer.info, I believe. It's like 185,000 seasonal flu deaths already this year. That's 37,000 deaths per month, which is way higher than what we're getting. Cancer, 3.1 million. That's 600,000 per month. Let's see, 117,000 mothers have died during childbirth. How about 641,000?
This year?
Yeah. Remember that used to be like
That's a lot.
That's worldwide though.
Still seems like a lot.
7.8 billion. Again, remember back in the day, back in the old-timey days when childbirth was like a serious, mothers died all the time. It was like 1 in 4 or something.
I don't think there's really 7.8 billion people on Earth, but that's just me.
I think there's 7.8 billion. I just don't think they're all real people. I think they're based, and there's so many just shells walking around. And you know who you are because you're wearing a mask voluntarily. Let's see here. What else? 641,000 HIV, AIDS this year. We banning gay people? No. That's twice as many as the entire world COVID thing right now. That's 4,200 people a day. Let's see here. 5 million have already gotten a communicable disease, death, and died from it this year. That's worldwide. And so on and so on. Let's see. Road traffic accidents, 500,000 fatalities worldwide this year, not just America. What are you going to do? Cars? You going to stop cars with that? Smoking, of course, that's an old one. 1.9 million deaths by smoking this year, and so on and so on. It just doesn't stop. 3.1 million cancer, water-related diseases. I'll look that one up. Tons and tons of stuff. And of course, the one I got to bring up before is, look, we went through Ebola and SARS and West Nile and H1N1 and all the other stuff. And if I'm replicating any, that's okay. And we didn't shut down anything. Didn't shut down a damn thing. Went through those. Not a problem. This one shut the world down. And everyone buys it. No one questions it. That's the part that just staggers me. It's like we went through the others. You didn't even bat an eye. But when the drums of fear keep pounding, you just get scared. If you're a sheep. All right, enough of that. Let's segue into something happy. 845, start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it.
Damn it. New York. I didn't want to be happy. You said happy, and I was like, shit.
Oh, no. You don't have to be happy. You can be grumpy New Yorker. That's fine.
It's just, sorry, stupid everywhere.
It's stupid things for stupid people.
God.
Absolutely. Or stupid is as stupid does. I think Forrest Gump said that.
Big time.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
just the contaminated water thing, it probably is biological things. Like when I got Giardia and I was in the hospital during the eclipse.
That's what he means by water-related illnesses. Oh,
that's
I
what
got
I'm thinking, because that's actually in all New York water supply. You got to be careful. It could be anywhere.
Yeah, it didn't even occur to me. I mean, hell, we tell people, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, when you go to Mexico, don't drink the shower water because there's stuff in the water that you're not used to.
Don't drink the frickin' water at home.
Well,
oh my God, it's a mess. Everything's a mess.
Yeah.
Oh, and medical malpractice is in the top 10 killers, and that's
that's number 3 in the United States. Medical malpractice.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know,
love you, Mama Bear. Happy birthday. Sorry, Mark.
I love
you too.
It's okay. Medical malpractice, for those who don't know, that's when you go into the hospital and somebody makes a mistake and you die, which is why malpractice insurance is so unbelievably high for doctors.
Why the hell don't they ban doctors instead of guns?
Yeah, you got a point. I mean, the human body is a very complex machine, and doctors, of course. This is something I've said for years, which is like, if you want some stitches, or you want your a bone set, a broken bone set, that's fine. Everything else, you're on your own, because there's no guarantees. Which is why, again, women
don't get the black shit, you'll die.
Here's one for you. This goes along with Karen's thing. She's questioning like women who die during childbirth. Most women are absolutely pressured to get a C-section when they go into a hospital nowadays, because legally it's way safer. way safer than doing it the other way. Now you're going to have to deal with the scar and everything else, but the stats have shown that it's the safest way. They are way less chance for something to go wrong and the hospital to be sued if you do a C-section. And so, they can't force you, but they will. It's like, yeah, we highly recommend this.
Well, why don't they just learn how to deliver babies properly? Instead
we don't
of...
need to. You know how to do it. Your body knows how to do it. Nobody knows how to learn.
But when the baby, they were doing all this stuff with putting that thing on the baby's neck, and they always make the woman lay down on her back, and they don't even try.
This is not
to
a
do it
valid
any
menu
other
option.
way.
What was that?
What?
Did you hear that? Zulu, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what that was.
What was
It was
that?
probably just a NSA marker. They're just marking the
Peanut, you monitoring this? I think Peanut hit a key on his side.
Oh man!
All right. Anyway, but the point, the short version is this: life is risk, plain and simple. You walk down your sidewalk. You have a chance of something bad happening. They say the safest place to be is an airplane. Yeah, actually, technically it is, because they spend a huge amount of money making sure parts don't break. Driving your car, not as safe, but there's lots of things that can kill you. Locking yourself behind your door with your drapes pulled. Yeah, fine, you can do it, but it's no way to live. Sorry, it isn't.
No.
Get out there, friggin' live your life. Don't just listen to the TV and that tells you to hide behind your couch and be afraid. Don't. Anyway, anything else?
Yeah, because then you'll be ordering shit on Amazon all the time. Sorry, Daddy. I ordered my spark plugs for my car one at a time, and it has 16 of them.
Nice.
I love Dottie's World. She's awesome. Shout out to Dottie's World. Oh, and Dank. I got to shout out to Dank.
Okay.
Right on.
Ridiculous. Hey, what about the books for school? Are they going to not allow them to reuse them? So now, do I have to buy my kid books every freaking year now? It's like college or something. What are they going to do?
I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
Is there a sanitization process for the books? Who knows? Lockers? What are you going to do for lockers? Desks, you would have to be wiped down.
There was no backpacks, definitely no masks, not even on Halloween, no hoodies. So now what? Now it's all reversed. Now they got to carry backpacks and wear masks.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. We used to, when we were growing up, and I know this dates me. Growing up and watching MTV, and you laughed at the videos that showed kids that were lining up and walking in slow motion in these lines and turning kids into drones, and we go, that's funny. It's a future it'll never happen.
We don't need no education.
Yeah, damn straight.
Oh my God.
And now I'm looking at the proposals that are being passed down, going, man, some of this can actually happen, which is sad because the kids deserve. I mean, sorry, but they deserve to have a childhood, a normal, have fun, do some stupid stuff, and not be drone childhood. But I don't know if they're going to get it.
I know they're crazy. People are just stupid when they're scared. I get it, but I mean, like you said, I've been floored by how powerful the media was. I mean, the freaking toilet paper. I mean, it was just absurd.
Yeah.
Everybody, I can't believe it. I mean, I guess I can now that I see it, but it's like, holy crap! Never thought it was that powerful.
Yeah, it's extremely strong. Well, what changed was you had a perfect combination of a huge amount of channels to choose from and media sources, combined with the smartphone. The smartphone got so good and people were streaming everything, and they have alerts on their smartphone constantly that they're constantly, they're being reminded all the time. And I was like, oh yeah, here's the headline, be afraid. Here's the headline, more be afraid. Here's the headline, get a mask. Headline.
Yeah. Are you scared yet? We got more.
Are you scared yet? Because you're out of toilet paper. Are you scared
at 11.
Yet? Yeah. You lost your job, and your kid's not in school, and all this other stuff. And
oh my God, it's just so nuts.
Yeah.
So nuts. I mean, I'm already starting to see it. They're already reducing, government's, staff and things like our governor asshole. They ask him a question and you see him, he gets all like shifty in his seat and he's like, oh, no. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We know what's happening.
Yeah. Sorry,
I mean, it's just crazy.
Let's face it, there is rationing in the stores right now, and we haven't seen that since World War II.
And why? Aren't these people telling us that they're seeing these warehouses are full and the disbursement centers are full? Why aren't they being delivered? Why are they intentionally screwing shit up on us?
Yeah. Why is now Costco? Why has Costco implemented a permanent policy of like, you can only have so many meat items, 1 thing of toilet paper, 2 things of water on any trip? Why are you limiting that sort of thing?
Yeah. Hey, real quick, and I'll hang up on the school thing. So it's possible that they could have a 6-day school week, 3 and 3, and then maybe alternate every opposite week. You get a Saturday, whatever.
Yeah.
But like he said, hours. It requires a certain amount of hours. So are they getting what they want? A fucking full-time school year for these poor guys?
Well, that's just it. Like the Texas people, it was an article that Peanut just shot out there. Some of the Texas government or Texas mayors, whatever, they're proposing in order to make up the hours that you were saying, just no summer break, just run it permanently all year round. And when you graduate, you don't get summers off.
I mean, and I guess the Saturdays aren't going to matter with half the people unemployed. Who gives a shit, right? Those bastards. They're some bastards. I can't believe people fell for this shit and nobody looks forward. Everybody is, shit, I got my $1,000 check every week because New York State increased the amount that they give, and some people got fucking raises.
Yeah. Yeah, that even happened here. My brother-in-law couldn't get parts for one of his projects because the manufacturing thing was paying more for unemployment than it was the actual workers. And so a bunch of workers be like, whatever, we'll come back when the check stops.
I'll stay home.
Yeah, well,
hell yeah.
So
exactly.
But what they're going to, idiots are not going to have anything to come back to.
There you go. Yep, can't see.
All
right, man. You're good. You're good as long as you're good.
I love you guys. Shout out to Dottie's World. Shout out to Mark Sargent. Shout out to Karen B. Shout out to Brian Burton. Brian, you're the man. Love you guys in the chat. Peace out.
All right,
Thank you, Mark. Thank you,
bye-bye.
Karen. Bye.
All right, let's jump over to 214, which may or may not be in the great state of Texas. Yeah.
Hello, guys. I enjoying the show tonight. I wanted to ask a question. Have you guys talked about this contact tracing?
We have not talked about it yet because it's one of those scary things that hasn't been fully fleshed out. But what, you want to discuss it a little bit?
Well, yeah, I've been listening to C-SPAN for about 30 years, although I'm not a junkie, but I listened to the mostly Democrats when they were voting. I think it was Friday, and so many of them did want this contact tracing, and Bobby Rush is totally for it. I don't care for that man at all because on C-SPAN quite a few years ago he was kind of talking quite well, he really liked being over at Castro's bungalow, and he and a few of his Congress people friends. And I believe that's where that man's coming from, where a lot of them are.
Yeah.
But I will, I live in a small kind of condominium complex, about a couple of hundred units, and I don't mind telling you, Mark, I think we've got a few neighbors that would turn me in for stuff.
Okay, let me lead in with this. What surprised me more than anything, and I don't want to pick on Germany during the 40s necessarily, was, and let's just call it what it is, the snitch lines worked extremely well. They were very, very popular every place they put them in this country and in other countries. In fact, I can't find a country where it failed. Meaning, they're known as tip lines and hotlines and social distancing lines or whatever, and people again, if they saw groups, it's like, I don't like to look them kids doing that barbecue, and they call the hotline, and the next thing you know, some cops are over there trying to break it up. The tip lines, yeah, scary. Like every website that has gone up, like one of the first ones I remember was in like New Zealand, and it just shut down. It was overwhelmed because so many people were just peering out their windows and then picking up the phone or going to the app and whatever it was, and ratting people out. That part drove me nuts. Contact tracing, which is an extension of this, that it is. I don't think it can happen, Jan, because the manpower it would take to do contact tracing is just incredible. And how would you even pay them? For those who don't know what contact tracing is, it's if you all of a sudden get the virus, if you are diagnosed with the virus, then you are put in a database, and then you have somebody assigned to you, and they ask you questions like, who have you talked to, over the last week? Who are the people you talked to? And then they call. I mean, there are some states that are doing a little bit now. Right now, it's limited to phone work, where they call up these people. And they, say, hey, I heard you were hanging out with such and such. How are you feeling? How's your family feeling? Blah, blah, blah. And who would you have contact with? In a perfect world, what they would do is they would send people to your house to check you out. But of course, you're getting into civil liberties at that point. I don't think they're going to have people going door to door with temperature guns saying, hey, I saw you were talking to John Smith. I need to check your temperature. But was being proposed. That's the scary thing, is that particular idea was being proposed. Contact tracing, which is a very clever way of saying people monitoring. And there's probably some more sinister terms for it, which I can't think of right now. But that's what they were thinking of doing. I don't think logistically, it's very, very, very tough to do, because you just don't have the money to hire that many people to run around. I mean, how would you even pay them? How would you pay them to get around? So that's what we're looking at right now. So I don't think it's going to happen. It'll be proposed before this is over, and I think it'll be limited to phone calls. But yeah, if you get a call from anyone that says, yeah, I heard you were talking to blah, 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 and he was diagnosed, you can just hang up on him. Screw him. That's what I'd do. Or as my Egyptian friend would say, go straight to the hell.
Oh, and I've not ever had children before, and maybe Karen can help me with this, and I don't know if Peanut can type in something, but I think this thing was ridiculous that you guys were talking about earlier, and I don't see how they can possibly do it. And that even makes me think there is going to be some big, huge celestial thing, because they know they can't pull that thing off, and that they would teach children through the internet their propaganda. You can
Right.
homeschool, but they're going to be on that computer, and they're going to have to take propaganda tests, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't teach kids propaganda at home. It's not nearly as effective. You've got to get them in a building. That's the point of it.
But not at home? On their computer?
Home on the computer, there's too many distractions. They're going to be there's going to be way too many ways to skip around that. Kids got, homeschooling's fine, but there's going to be a lot more of it if they try to push. Seriously, if they create this dystopian vision of schools out there are parents that will pull their kids in a heartbeat. And it mark my words, it'll happen when they come home and the first time mom or dad can't get a hug, when that kid stops 6 feet away and says, and the parents looks like, what are you doing? And it's like, what? We're not supposed to, and all of a sudden the parents like, what is happening at school? Once that happens, you're gonna see some changes, because we start creating drones. I don't want to think about it right now. Anything else, Jan? Because I do want to pick up one more before we close down for the night.
Just want to give a shout out to Miss Belarus and to Sarah up in Calgary.
Oh,
when
cool.
You were going to New Zealand a year ago, yeah.
Right.
That's when you messed up your show.
Yeah, no.
I had to put that in there, Mark.
Thank you. No. Sarah up in Calgary is great, and Belarus, we haven't heard from her in a little while, so hopefully we will, though, soon.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Jan.
Good night, Jan.
I love Jan so much. All right, we're going to end the show with 360 in the great state of Washington in the Northwest. What is happening on Whidbey Island?
From the former state of the United States under the Constitution, back at you from Whidbey Island.
What's happening? What are you seeing out there?
Well, on a positive note, hello. Nice to see you guys are online and still broadcasting some truth.
Yeah.
And I'm just putting signs on my cars now, and they're getting some thumbs up, like says no. Say no to Bill Gates. Say no to WHO. Say no to the governor. These types of things that just trying to. I put my flat Earth sign away for a while, by the way.
Oh, all right.
Because we have this urgent thing going on.
Sure. The end of the world.
And I notice I get rejected faster if I talk about flat Earth. So.
Oh no! Are you kidding? This right now. I mean, this is what's on my mind. Don't get me wrong. Flat Earth is wonderful and great, and I love it. But I mean, I'm half expecting to see the frickin' four horsemen come over the mountains. So, what else is going on?
Exactly. Yeah, one caller must not have read your second book because you made a lot of references to the Bible and how it related to Babylon and how that's part of the picture of what we're opposing.
Right.
Right. But that was about 3 calls ago. He was very good though. I didn't mean to say he wasn't good. That was enjoyable.
No, that's right.
But, yeah. Hey, about the last caller, though, I did get an email from Edward Henry talking about the contract tracing in HR 6666, and he's taking it very seriously because he's worried there's going to be a vote for the first time in history without having a quorum. They're going to do a proxy vote. They're trying to set up some kind of a deal where they can try and ram this thing through without actually meeting in Washington State to do it.
Right.
So.
Right. I mean,
I haven't had time to respond. You probably saw the email.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Again, the contact tracing is the trickiest part of it is this, and that is Americans are really, really resistant to door-to-door stuff. Where anything that's coming down the line, where you're coming to somebody's house. One thing, if you're going where we have so many different types of neighborhoods and so many different types of residential living, and there's so many different reactions. I can't imagine the turnover rate. I mean, would you want to be a contact tracer? That would not be a fun job at all. And what sort of authority do you have?
Not in my neighborhood, man. This neighborhood is locked and loaded. I don't even own a gun, but I don't think I have to because of the whole. This place is just locked and loaded.
Oh yeah. I mean, plus what sort of authority?
And by the way, Hawaii is really locked and loaded. I know that from 10 years on the Big Island. At least there, people might think they can control those guys. So if it comes down to it, they will have a lot of resistance on their hands over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, anything door to door will be a nightmare. Hey, we're wrapping up the show here. Any shout outs before we go?
Yeah, shout out to Zulu One because I always forget to do that, and also you and Karen B for keeping up the hard work there.
Well, thank you.
All the truth tellers. Alex, keep him in your prayers. He's concerned tonight.
All right.
Art gallery. So,
okay.
Yeah, everybody keep working on it. Spread the word. Thank you so much, you guys. Yeah, good night.
All right. You have a good one too, man.
All right. Take care.
Appreciate it.
Whidbey Island. So nice to have local people. Well, Karen, we made it through another one.
Yes.
And we're going to keep doing this, folks, until they tell us not to. Until it becomes illegal. Or until, I don't know, who knows what weirdness is.
Hey, can I plug my show this
Plug it.
Thursday?
Do it. Do it now.
This Thursday, I'm interviewing David Beverly Sr., who's an ex-NASA employee. And he also was stationed in Antarctica.
Nice.
It's a mouthful. So that'll be a good show.
All right. Well, we'll be here next week. Same flat time, same flat channel. Cue music. Say goodnight, Karen.
Good night, Karen.
And remember, kids, don't do masked sex. Do hot sex.
Hot sex.
All Night, everybody.